When looking at what to do in life, what to pursue and why to pursue it, there's a great little story that massively changed how I looked at it. I first came across it in the book The 4-Hour Work Week, and it's the parable of the businessman and the fisherman, and it goes like this. An American businessman took a vacation to a small coastal Mexican village on doctor's orders. Unable to sleep after an urgent phone call from the office the first morning, he walked out to the pier to clear his head. A small boat with just one fisherman had docked, and inside the boat were several large yellowfin tuna. The American complimented the Mexican on the quality of his fish. "How long did it take you to catch them?" the American asked. "Only a little while," the Mexican replied in surprisingly good English. "Why don't you stay out longer and catch more fish?" the American then asked. "I have enough to support my family and give a few to friends," the Mexican said as he unloaded them into the basket. "But what do you do with the rest of your time?" The Mexican looked up and smiled. "I sleep late, fish a little, play with my children, take a siesta with my wife Julia, and stroll into the village each evening, where I sip wine and play guitar with my amigos. I have a full and busy life, senor." The American laughed and stood tall. "Sir, I'm a Harvard MBA and I can help you. You should spend more time fishing, and with the proceeds buy a bigger boat. In no time you could buy several boats with the increased haul. Eventually you would have a fleet of fishing boats," he continued. "Instead of selling your catch to a middleman, you would sell directly to the consumers, eventually opening up your own cannery. You control the product, processing and the distribution, and move to Mexico City, then to Los Angeles, and eventually New York City, where you could run your expanding enterprise with proper management." The Mexican fisherman asked, "But senor, how long will all this take?" To which the American replied, 15, 20 years, 25 tops." "But what then, senor?" The American laughed and said, "That's the best part. When the time is right, you can announce an IPO and sell your company stock to the public and become very rich. You would make millions." "Millions, senor? Then what?" "Well, then you could retire and move to a small coastal fishing village, where you would sleep late, fish a little, play with your kids, take a siesta with your wife, and stroll to the village in the evenings, where you could sip wine and play your guitar with your amigos." This is a pretty powerful short story to get us to look at why we are progressing towards certain things. I know for me, I had in mind about making more money, which is the general classic in society, but I couldn't actually tell you why I wanted to make more money, other than I guess to get more stuff or to retire, rather than actually having the answers to what I want to do once I've got the stuff or when I have retired. This just shows we can spend so much time and effort and years sacrificing and working towards these things, when if actually realising what we really wanted, we could likely do a lot of that now. Living a more simple life like the fisherman shows we don't really need loads of wealth to get what we want. However, in the society we live in, it's not a problem building wealth at the same time. As wise as it is taking a note out of the fisherman's book, living exactly like that in modern society may not be the ultimate way. He might get sick or have other unexpected bills or more stress around how much fish he can catch that day. So it's wise to build up wealth and some safety nets, but even better if doing that while doing the things you actually want to do. It's more about not doing really shitty jobs that you hate, selling your soul because it pays so well, where you have zero passion in what you're doing, just so one day you may actually be able to do some of the things you enjoy. Incorporate more of those things you enjoy into your life now, even if that means earning less, and remember, some of the biggest wealth is in contentment, not in numbers.